Hey guys, Dr. Josh Axe here with Dr. Chris Zaino and Jordan Rubin. We're really pumped to come to you here today.
Well, some of us are pumped more than others.
Yeah, this guy is pumped up. So Dr. Chris is former Mr. America. He's Mr. Universe. He actually won it at 40 years old. So if you want to know some of the secrets on how to build muscle, burn fat, look lean and toned, and just really healthy, then we're going to share some of these tips with you today along here with Dr. Chris. Also, hey, do us a favor. Help us spread this message. There are millions of people that don't know how to get healthy using food as medicine. Take a minute right now, punch that share button, click that like button today. And also, hey, we'd love to hear from you. If you have questions, feel free to send those in. So Dr. Chris, you're pumped up, man. You're big, you're buff. We've known you for a long time. Let's talk about this. What does your diet look like on a daily basis? Or somebody out there who's looking to put on muscle and burn fat, what should their breakfast, lunch, and dinner look like?
Well, for the breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it used to be that you had to have carbs in the morning. That was the breakfast was the biggest meal of the day. But now with new research with intermittent fasting and stuff like that, it's been huge, especially as we age a little bit, where, you know, in the morning I make sure I have a more protein-centered type of breakfast. So that could be the bone broth protein. I might have a little smoothie like that, or I'll just have some free-range, healthy organic eggs, the whole eggs, because we want to get the healthy fat in there. I'm really not scared of that. Lunch, we're looking for, again, a nice protein source, maybe a light fish and some vegetables with that. I make sure every meal has some type of healthy fat. Has to be in there, whether it be a fish oil, whether it be macadamia, some type of fat, because when God created protein in animals, there was always fat combined with it. So I want to make sure we have healthy fat to fight inflammation. And then for dinner, that's when I'll have maybe a little bit larger meal, because now I have worked out. Now my body needs a little bit more extra recuperation and healing, and I'm about to go to sleep. So I want to make sure that's when I'll have maybe some grass-fed beef. Okay, along even some extra fats with that as well, a nice healthy salad. I will incorporate some carbohydrates in that meal, or if it's right after workout, depending on how long dinner will be, I'll have another bone broth shake between the gym and that whole food meal.
Now folks, understand this. So Dr. Chris is 40 years old, and yes, I've taught him everything I've known about fitness, and he's a little bit more advanced than I am in this. I didn't want to, he's my pupil, I didn't want to embarrass him, but here's what's really cool. The traditional bodybuilding diet usually involves 300 to 400 grams of protein. So you read about Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, doing 10 pounds of cod, 5 pounds of chicken breast. I mean, these are the type of, and then hundreds of grams of powdered protein. Notice this, Dr. Zaino said he consumes bone broth protein. And I really believe this is the secret weapon, because bone broth protein is not treated like other proteins. No. The fact that it is not from meat, or from rice, or from peas, means that it has complementary amino acids that I believe balance out the protein. So as Dr. Zaino consumes eggs, which are muscle building, fish, which is muscle building, beef, which is muscle building, the bone broth protein and its proline and glycine balance that out. And there's another reason Dr. Chris consumes bone broth protein. He, along with myself, both suffered from inflammatory bowel disease. For me, it was Crohn's. For Dr. Chris, it was ulcerative colitis. And so consuming a lot of the other proteins from legumes or from dairy doesn't always work for you, does it?
No, it causes, right now, it causes an automatic inflammation response. I mean, I feel it immediately. So that's why I really, like you guys say, I treat food like medicine. And so what I eat, I want to make sure that it's the right amount of foods. I got to know where I eat comes from, right? That's very important. What my food eats, I want to make sure what it's eating. So I know that what I'm eating, my body's going to rebuild itself from. So I want to make sure it is the best thing. My body, and God gave us this body, it's the greatest thing He's given us. Life is the gift. And our body is our most loyal and dedicated friend we have, so I want to make sure I'm giving it the right sources of nutrition it needs.
Well, and here's a quick question. So Dr. Chris operates one of the largest clinics focusing on chiropractic and nutrition in the world in the Woodlands, Texas. That's a nice area. I really like it. And one thing that I want you to understand, because a lot of you watching are not going to have 19-inch biceps, nor do you want them. Dr. Chris, tell us about your wife, Whitney, your children, and your patients. How do they benefit from the same superfoods that help you build muscle and stay in the gym? What does it do for them, for their total body? Because people say, well, I don't want to be like Arnold. Don't worry, you probably won't. But what do these superfoods do for the average person?
Well, from my wife, I could just go from experience. My wife, Whitney, so she's not eating all this protein, stuff like that. She has more of a vegetarian type diet with protein, a little bit throughout the day, but definitely has the bone broth in there. The kids always have a smoothie with that in the morning, because I want my children to be raised, I want their entire bodies to develop the right way it should. My patients, I definitely make sure that because gut health is such an issue, and processed food destroys the gut so horribly, we're talking about people have 10, 20 years of compound destruction. So it's not going to happen overnight. So we start small. So I tell my patients, have a tablespoon of bone broth protein per meal, or have at least 1 shake per day. Start changing the foods that you're eating to more organic, grass-fed. Bring a big thing I also see, guys, is people still have this fear of fat.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
they want carb-free, all this carb-free, no, not carb-free, fat-free, loaded with carbs, sugars, and processed materials, but they're still staying away from fat because they've been trained for years that stay away from fat, not knowing that you're missing out on one of the greatest nutrients that you could possibly have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. So guys, we are live here with Dr. Chris Zaino, Mr. America, now Mr. Universe for bodybuilding, one of the largest clinics in the country. He's sharing some of his secrets for his own health and his family's health. And hey, if you're enjoying this live training, take a second right now, punch that share button. Now, not as hard as Dr. Chris did. Yeah, don't punch it. We don't want to shatter my iPhone there. But hey, so excited you guys are watching. I'm going to see if we're getting any questions here from people as well. Question here from Miriam. She is asking the question, should you take both collagen as well as bone broth? Jordan, you want to take that one? Collagen protein versus bone broth.
I think they're both really good. One thing you should know is a bone broth protein powder can be 60 to 65% collagen. So additional collagen isn't necessary, but there are reasons to use multiple types of collagen. There's collagen from beef, there's collagen from turkey, there's collagen from fish, even eggshell membrane, which I'm a huge fan of. So if you are already using a collagen protein, stick with it, but add some bone broth protein to it. The bottom line is this: collagen protein and bone broth protein are both in the categories of connective tissue building, and they balance the whey, the pea, the soy, and the other proteins. And here's what I say, folks. Dr. Chris mentioned he eats eggs, he eats fish, he eats meat. So do we, Dr. Josh and I. But we supplement with the protein we don't eat, which is bone broth protein. I'll make bone broth, my wife will, once every week or 2 weeks, but I want to be consistent every day. What I'm excited about is Dr. Chris trained for the Mr. Universe at 40, and he consumed bone broth protein from its inception. We sent it to him in little baggies because we knew he was training. But how awesome is it that he could have done that? And look, if you're a high school athlete, or if you're a parent of one, if you have just an active lifestyle, yoga, Pilates, etc., you know what it means to spend one more day in the studio, one more day in the gym. What really excited me, Dr. Chris, was when you said the amount of time you could spend and effort in the gym at age 40 using superfoods, including bone broth, compared to when you were at age 20. Talk about that.
Because now, leading up to the show, the contest, you were training with weights 7 days a week. So 7 days, in order to do that, it means one thing: recuperation has to happen. Because training every day, you could actually lose muscle if you're not recuperating. So that says that recuperation had to happen. So I'm recuperating at 40 better than I was at 20.
Wow.
And then doing cardio every morning, it's repetition. And what takes the blunt on repetition? It's your joints and your ligaments. So to be able to do that, and then I'm doing this every day, adjusting patients every day. So it really gave me a sense of freedom. And then what it did is it allowed me to create an experience in my life, to have my wife there in New York with me when it happened, and just to hit a bucket list. Everybody has dreams and stuff out there, and if your body's not healthy and strong, you will not be able to reach those goals. And just to be able to have that bucket list checked off was just an amazing thing, and it wouldn't have been able to even be possible if my body was not able to go through it and do what needed to be done.
Well, and your kids apparently, particularly your youngest son, loves superhero movies. So they probably, you're Mr. Universe, they probably sort of rank you with Thor and probably ask you questions like, Dad, can you fly? And can you lift the hammer? And Vision doesn't stand a chance against you.
Yeah, Titus totally, he wears costumes with muscles in him, and he's 4. And my son Justice is an amazing martial artist right now at 10. And it just, I want them to see their dad. This is beyond just nutrition. This is about taking care of yourself and being an example to your family. I have to be an example to my patients. For you watching this, do you know that what I'm telling you right now, I have to live and breathe myself in order to be congruent to tell you that you keep me accountable. So in order to be the best person, reach my potential as a human being, that I need to be able to be a living example of what I talk about.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Chris, we got a question here from Leola. She said, my husband is 40 pounds overweight,
Right.
she said, and we don't know where to start.
Right.
What are some of the first steps he can take to losing the weight and getting healthy?
Right, so the first thing you want to do, I say baby steps, right? You want to start small. So the first thing is he has to get a plan, right?
Yeah.
Josh, we were talking about
Yeah,
before, like, and it cannot be eating good today, because here's the thing, your husband, he could eat great today, he could exercise today, right? But tomorrow, guess what? Nothing changes. See, one day is not going to do it. It has to be, what can he do? Even if it was 60% of 100, if he could do something consistent, that's where the results come. And it's not a short term, it's a lifetime process. So just having the inspiration, motivation that I don't have to be perfect, but what can I do today? So what's the one thing? So what would you do, Jordan, if you said if someone was dealing with, they want to start now? No, that would be a good thing. Start now. Don't wait till Monday.
Absolutely.
Right?
And there's a couple of quick tips, and these are free. So I know people say, well, he's not going to take supplements, he's not going to go to the gym. 2 quick tips. Number 1, get more sleep at the right time. If you go to bed before midnight, it's been proven, and get a little more sleep, you crave carbs less. They did a study with people that slept for 4 hours a day, and they craved, I want to say they ate 30% more sugar. And that's the only difference. Number 2, drink 8 ounces of water every time you're hungry. If you want to put bone broth in it, even better, but 8 ounces of water before you eat a snack or a meal, you're going to eat less. I mean, how can that not be something you do?
Easy. So, all right, so sleep and what? Josh?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I had my patients do is I told them just change breakfast. I mean, if you change your breakfast and you start doing that bone broth smoothing every morning for breakfast, you've changed a third of your diet for most people. I mean, so just changing breakfast alone is great. Or doing one of the things Jordan does. Jordan typically does bone broth for breakfast, bone broth for lunch, and that's really it. And then eats a big, he eats a big healthy dinner. But even, again, one of the things I did, Chris, when I started getting into fitness is I would have a vacation day to where maybe I would eat really healthy Monday through Friday and take a Saturday off or Saturday, Sunday off. But even things like that can work.
You look forward to
Yeah,
it.
Yes.
the one meal a day. And a mindset thing, let's think about, don't beat yourself up of it. The best way to do it is get your big why behind it, meaning this. What you're doing right now, the reason why your husband, and I know you love him, and even all of us do it, the reason why we resist doing things, the reason why I would be 40 pounds overweight is because I'm resisting something. I'm resisting exercising, eating well. You have to ask him, what is resisting that rewarding you in? So maybe resisting exercises, he could sleep in, he's comfortable, I don't want to feel the burn, I like to eat what I want. So not changing, meaning that whatever he's doing is rewarding him in some way. So at least recognize, what is this lack of change rewarding him in, and then you got to see, well, if I continue this, what is it going to cost me? So that helps develop the why. Saying, you know what, I might be comfortable to sleep in and not exercise. I might be comfortable not to eat breakfast or have a donut, but in the long run, what is this costing me, my wife, my spouse, my children? What is it going to cost my career, my finances in the long run? And once you have that clear picture and can future pace, let me tell you, it makes changing that breakfast, going to bed early, a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things I'm thinking here as well is, you're talking about rewards, rewarding, again, if we're talking about Leola, your husband, with words of affirmation. I mean, anytime he goes to the gym afterwards, it's, honey, you're looking leaner, you're looking great. I mean, we like that, right?
Oh, we'd always do.
Oh, yeah.
And look, there's an opportunity to make small, meaningful changes, but you got to do things to get results quick. You mentioned change your breakfast, but you also mentioned, in a way, skipping breakfast. And I know this is counterintuitive, but if you want to lose quick weight, start eating breakfast at noon. Breakfast means break fast. Most people aren't even hungry in the morning, and what they eat is terrible. So skipping breakfast, eating even more for lunch and dinner than you would, you still could lose weight.
Yeah.
And I'm Jordan Rubin here with Dr. Josh Axon, Dr. Chris Zaino, Mr. Universe. Can I be Mr. like Pluto? Because it's not even a planet anymore, or just like maybe because universe is like, that's huge. But we're talking about transforming your health, losing weight, building muscle with superfoods. And we had talked about motivation. I remember, Chris, reading a book that you had written about losing your father at a very young age. So when you were talking about your boys and them being a part of your latest competition and at 40 winning Mr. Universe, obviously there's times where we think about, I wish, it's funny, I spoke yesterday at this conference and my mom and dad were here, and
Yeah,
I wish
same.
my dad could have been here. I wish your grandfather, so you had to see that, and that's been motivation for you, obviously. A part of your why is you've got young boys and you don't want them to experience losing their father and someone you were very close with at a young age.
Absolutely. A father is needed all the time, but I believe through the ages of like 13 and 25, that is so important. And I lost my dad at 21, and there were so many things I wish he could have seen or been here for, just to even seen us. I wouldn't be cool if my dad was on Facebook watching this right now.
Yeah, yeah.
My dad did video work. He would have freaked out that his entire video studio could be done on a phone. So just all this great stuff. But the thing is, see, those tough times in our lives, whether the disease you had, look what your trial and tribulation turned into. So
Mr. Pluto.
right, Mr. Pluto. So whatever you have in your life, you use that to leverage to leave a legacy and to make sure it doesn't happen. Like, I didn't like the way it felt losing my dad, so I want to make sure that never happens to my kids, and I want to be there for them and be that role model in the way I act and what I do. And so I really think my thing is, I feel accountable to everybody that I help teach and help lead towards healthier lifestyles, and that is one of my big whys. And so whether it be a spouse, do it for each other. I love the affirmation. Don't get down on them, and don't beat them up if they're not doing it. It's not about perfection. I'm not perfect. No one's perfect. But you know what? Doing the best you can, you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, great advice. Well, guys, hey, if you're enjoying this live training, help us spread the word on how to use food as medicine, get healthy naturally, as Dr. Chris is talking about. Press that share button, click the like button, help us spread the message. Also, if you're not subscribed here to our live Facebook feed, make sure you subscribe, because we're always doing pop-ins from different restaurants, traveling, and with some of the world's leading health experts like Dr. Chris Zaino, who operates one of the world's leading clinics in the Woodland, Texas, also one of the top bodybuilders in the world right now. So, Dr. Chris, we love having you here, man.
Always. Thank you.
Rock, bro. Man, look at
Thanks,
these
Jordan.
guns. Welcome to the gun show, everybody.
Goodness.
So, hey guys, thanks for watching. Have a good day. We'll see you Monday.